do you need to tire out your dog? Because let's face it, dogs have lots of energy, and sometimes we need them to get that energy out so that they can be calm and stress-free in different situations. And this could be that you've got an important meeting online and you have to have it quiet in your house. This could mean that they are going into their crates because you are going to run errands. It can mean all sorts of things. So how can we effectively and in an enrichment kind of way tire out our dogs before we need them to be quiet and settled? I've got 3 options for you that are really, really fun to employ. The first of which is a flirt pull. Now, flirt pulls are really fun. We've actually had full videos on this. I'll link those for you. But this is going to be a long pole. It's kind of collapsible like a camera tripod, and it has a string attached to it with a toy attached to that. You can take this outside, you can take this inside. I personally like using this outside because there's more space to run around, and you can make them run in circles. You can run around and you can have them chase you. You can lift it up in the air so they have to jump for it. This is just a really good way for them to chase things without exhausting you in the process. And this is going to allow you to move a lot faster because you can spin this pole around and move that toy around you faster than you can run it from side to side of your yard. So this is going to be an effective way to play, to engage with them, to educate them, and to teach them problem-solving skills, because as you're doing this, you're going to be doing it in multiple ways. So you want to make sure you are spinning around in circles. You can run around and have it move from side to side. You can have them jump up and down, but you're going to change directions and change what you're doing every so often. So let them run in circles for a while, but when it's going to be too much and they're going to get dizzy, change ways or redirect them and go from one side of the yard to the other side of the yard. You're going to move from one side of the house to the other side of the house. You are going to lift it up and make them jump, and you have it go high and low. You're going to change the rhythm that you are doing this in so that they don't know what's coming. You want to mix it up so they constantly have to change directions and change what they're doing and how they're doing it, and they have to figure out how to grab a hold of that toy. Now, you can let them grab a hold of the toy. You do have to understand it's probably going to be a little bit of a tug of war, and now you're attached to a flirt pole, so you have to be smart about how you use this. You may want to collapse that pole as you're trying to get it out of your dog's mouth if they do not automatically give it to you. And you want to be very careful that neither of you in this tug of war battle gets smacked with that collapsible pole, because that can be a little painful. So you want to make sure that you are actively working on how they are moving and guiding themselves around and how you are playing with them, and you're being smart about it so everybody is safe and healthy and getting the most out of this. But a flirt pole, or a teaser pole as they're also called, are really, really good to make sure that your dog is active, moving very quickly, and having a lot of fun while they're doing it. Now, another thing that you can be doing is a ball pit. I've talked about this a lot here on the channel. I've got lots of videos on this. You're going to get a kiddie pool, not one that blows up. We don't want one that pops. I have a really good one that I recommend. It's kind of like a collapsible one, so it's not permanently up. You can fold it down, you can clean it very easily, and you just put little kid ball pit balls in it. It's amazing. And then what you do is you can just let them play in it. You don't want them to necessarily chomp on the balls, so one really good thing to do is to grab a handful of their food, not treats, food. This can be part of their food for the day. Grab a handful of their food and sprinkle it in between the balls in the ball pit. Now they have to go hunting through the balls to find each individual piece of food. So it's part of their meal. You can kind of give them a little bit less at breakfast, a little bit less at dinner, whatever floats your boat, whatever works best for you. But sprinkle that in the ball pit and do it a little bit at a time. So a little bit now so they have to go and find it. And when they're all done, when they really, really go through all those balls and they found everything, you can put more in it. So you can do a couple rounds of this. And this is going to get out a lot of energy because they have to sniff, they have to dig, they have to jump, they have to move the balls around, they have to actively search, and they're never sure they got it all. So there's not only is there finding the food and eating the food, but there's also, did I get all of the food? So you can do this in a couple of different rounds and really wear them out from jumping in and out. And you can do this however you want. You can make them get out and jump back in. You can just leave them be. You can show them, but you actively want them to know that they are searching for this. So show yourself putting it inside of the ball pit so that they know it's there and they have to find it, not just sniff it out. So this is going to be really good. And you can even put some high value treats in there as well. So mostly bits of food, but also you could sneak a biscuit in there or sneak something in there for them to, really help them to find and to search for it. And if you want to make it harder for them, get down on their level, stick your arm in the ball pit and swish things around. So as they're doing it, you're making it more difficult by actively moving the balls, actively moving the food within the ball pit. You're making it more difficult. So you can find ways to add in enrichment on this one. So they're doing a lot of sniffing, a lot of investigating, a lot of finding, a lot of snacking, but in a very, health conscious way because it's part of their meal anyway. So that's going to be really, really good for tiring them out, for keeping their minds very active on this one and creating a really fun environment. And when they're done, you take it away. Do not just leave the ball pit out, okay? We don't want them chewing on the balls. We don't want this to be a free-for-all. We do not want this to be something they can actively choose to do on their own. This is special time. This is not an everyday activity. This is special. And that elevates it in their mind, and that makes it a lot better. And they're much more excited to go digging through it. So they're gonna be faster, so they're gonna expend a lot more energy on this one. So I love ball pits. Now, one more thing that I really love to do to tire out your dogs actually has to do with a holiday. And this is something I've done with my dogs for so many years. I want you to think about Easter. What do we do at Easter time? We get out our plastic eggs and we have Easter egg hunts for the kids, right? Well, let's do that for dogs too. My dogs love it. And you will find that there are some dogs that are incredibly good sniffers. My previous dog, Jada, was elite. She was the top of everything when it came to sniffing things out. And my other girls were pretty good at it, but nothing compared to Jada. And I haven't tried it with my new puppies yet because they were still little and we didn't get to that point yet, but we are going to start doing Easter egg hunts with them as well. And all you have to do is take a handful of their dog food. Again, we're doing dog food. We're not worried about treats. We're not worried about a ton of calories because we're just using pieces of dog food. And you can put 1 or 2 or maybe 3 pieces in each of these plastic eggs and keep your dog in another room. Train them on the word Easter egg hunt. Jada knew. Didn't matter what time of year it was. If I said Easter egg hunt, she was there. She knew exactly what we were doing. So you actively show that there's stuff inside of these eggs, and then you keep your dog in another room where they cannot see you. That's the trick. They cannot see you. And then you hide the Easter eggs around your house in very obvious locations. This is not like a real Easter egg hunt. We're not actively hunting for things. So you're setting it on top of your space heater. You're setting it on top of your couch cushion. You're setting it where it's obvious, but they still have to sniff to find things. So once you've hidden things around your house, where you can see them and you know where they are so you don't lose anything. We're making this easy on ourselves, okay? We're not finding things a year later. Keep it where you can see it and contained to a single room. You are going to let your dog out of the other room and tell them it's an Easter egg hunt. They have to go find it. Now, the first couple of times you do this, it does involve a little bit of training. You have to actively show them, oh, look, we're looking for the Easter eggs. And when you find them, you shake them so they hear the rattle and you let them sniff it. And then you can open it up and show them the food inside. And after a couple of times, they're going to catch on. Now, my dog, Jada, was really good at opening the eggs herself. In fact, Lacey was really good at opening the eggs herself as well. But Ember had a tiny little mouth and she couldn't open them, so I had to do it for her. So you can train your dog to be gentle and pop those eggs open without cracking them, or you can just make it a rule that you have to open it every time they find it. And they then have to go throughout the entire house to find the eggs. Most dogs are not going to be logical about this and say, there's one here and there's one here, and I'm going to go in a logical order to go around the room and get all of these different pieces. Most of them are going to run from one side to the other, so it really wears them out. You can also be training them to kind of do that. So you can, as you're training them, say, oh, look, here's one, and come find it over here. Then you can say, oh, look over there, and point over there, take them to the opposite side. So you can kind of zigzag around the room to show them how you want them to be finding these things. If you want them to be logical about it, by all means, teach them that. It's kind of a fun little trick, but you don't have to. You can make them really wear themselves out and then just do however many rounds of that as you need to do. If they go through one round of eggs and they're tired, great. And if they're not, put them in the other room and hide them again. Again, just a piece to 3 pieces of food per egg, maybe a high value treat once in a while, and just let them go through these different hunting aspects of this. They're actively having to sniff it out. So they're sniffing around looking, and my gosh, I've never seen dogs sniff more than when they do Easter egg hunts because they know what an Easter egg hunt is and how to play the game. So these are going to be really great ways for you to actively tire out your dog, to engage with them, to enrich them, to play with them, to make them use their minds and really stimulate their thought process and make them use skills that will help them figure things out and those problem-solving skills. So this is going to be really good for you when you are going to jump on a Zoom call, or when you have to leave the house for a while, or when you've got company coming over and you need them to be chill before the company comes over. There's lots of ways to be using these. And if you are intentional about how you use these games and how you use this enrichment tool, this is going to be really good and not get boring for them and not get overdone for them because you're using them sparingly. And you can even rotate these, so it's not the same thing every time. And you can train them in different ways to do different variations of this as well. If you want more tips for calming your dog down, getting that stress out, and making sure that they have quiet time, go ahead and let me know. If there are other things that we need to be talking about to help you live your best dog parent life, we're dropping daily videos for you. So I'm always taking your questions, your fears, your frustrations, your concerns, and turning them into videos. And if you've got questions that I personally cannot answer, that I am not an expert in, I know the experts, and I will bring them onto the channel, or I'll bring their information onto the channel to make sure we're getting you accurate information to get the best possible dog parent life that you can have and the best life you can create for your puppy. So we'll see you in the upcoming episodes.